On the road to Macstock, live with organizer Mike Potter. This is Mac Voices. Mac Voices is supported by MacVoices Magazine, our free magazine on Flipboard and on the web. Want to cut through all the noise and find out what you can do with your Apple gear? MacVoices Magazine focuses on just that, aggregating the best how-to articles and information. Get it by searching for Mac Voices in the Flipboard app or visiting macvoices.com/magazine. Welcome to Mac Voices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Well, not exactly, because this time this is Mac Voices Live on the Macstock Conference and Expo channel on YouTube. We're recording a live Road to Macstock with Mr. Mike Potter, the organizer of Macstock. So, and Mike is not only the guest, he's also the producer of this show. So it may look a little bit different, sound a little bit different. That's the beauty of the whole thing. Mike, are you there? Mike.
I am here, Chuck. Thank you so much for having me on. This is amazing. And thank you for joining me live on the Macstock channel. This is great.
We're going to be spending half the show thanking each other for being on each other's channels, feeds, right, whatever it is. So
exactly.
We always like to check in with Mike just a little bit closer to Macstock. This time we probably won't be wrapping up the road to Macstock with Mike like we often do, but we thought it might be a good idea and maybe just a little fun to do a road to Macstock with Mike a month out. Because as we record this, we're 1 month away from Macstock 9 in Crystal Lake, Illinois. And so, I want to find out what's new, what other surprises Mike, well, he always has surprises he won't tell us about, but the ones he might reveal to us is what I'm interested in. So, Mike, first of all, thank you for having me here as well. There's
a surprise. There's a surprise behind my hand.
There's a surprise. Okay. I thought you were showing off your ring or something.
No. I'll do it this way. There, surprise behind my hand.
Okay.
Just a small one.
Yeah. So, first of all, this is really, I like this because we have a number of people in the chat room on YouTube, so they can throw in questions live at us and see what happens. What can you tell us about Macstock that we don't already know?
Well, I just put out a newsletter this last weekend, Chuck, and a lot of what we might talk about here on Road to Macstock is stuff that I announced in the newsletter. But one thing I couldn't quite announce yet in the newsletter because they were still working it out is the hotel block has been extended, which is super important. About 2 weeks ago, the hotel block actually closed and no rooms left at the inn. And, I mean, the day it closed, I scrambled to create an other hotels in the area page for the Macstock site so that people who wanted to still come could at least find some lodging out there. Well, I was working with the hotel in the weeks since, and fortunately, there are some other blocks that didn't quite get full yet, and so they were able to reallocate some rooms. And so we have some rooms again at the Holiday Inn, which is great. And not only do we have rooms at the Holiday Inn, but we also have that block extended now. So it was going to end on June 6th, but it has been extended to June 27th. I had to look at my notes. June 27th. That was just confirmed the other day after I sent out the newsletter. So if anybody was holding off getting their ticket for Macstock because they said, oh, I can't get a room at the hotel, and they didn't want to, go searching around for rooms elsewhere, we have an expanded block of rooms now at the hotel waiting for you to book your room, get your weekend pass, and come join us July 11th, 12th, and 13th at Macstock. So I'm excited about that. That was kind of a bummer when that room block closed. I'm like, oh boy, now what? But here we are. We've got rooms again.
Well, yeah, and I guess, maybe I'm just looking for the glass half full, but that to me says something about the popularity of Macstock and, how many friends we're going to have there. So, and it's even better, though, if you can come and get under that one roof with everyone, not have to worry about driving to go to sleep.
Yeah.
because it just means you get more of that. I don't know, Mike. I'm not sure the proper term would be unofficial time with the Macstock attendees, but the non-scheduled time. How's that? That sounds better.
The extended hallway track time. How about
Yes.
that? Yes.
Yes, that
And that's
works.
what it
That
turns
works.
into. Well, there is the hallway, of course, but the entire bar area and restaurant area of the hotel and all the seating around there and on the first floor and other floors of the hotel just become this extended hallway track for meeting. I heard Allison say on Road to Macstock that you just published that I should probably officially put the hallway track in the list of sessions on Macstock's site. And I'm thinking about that. How can I do that? I'm not going to do it for this year, but maybe I'll put that for next year because that's
Yeah,
what it turns into. Yeah.
and the hallway track is always fun because, again, Allison made, I think, a good point that you always leave plenty of time in between so there can be those informal interactions as well as the formal presentations. And that's, I think, something that just adds to the value of Macstock is the opportunity to take the people that you meet, you're sitting beside or sitting in front of or behind, and take a little time to get to know them, talk to them, and not feel like you're really missing anything as far as the formal programming goes.
That was one of the things we learned throughout the years. So this is Macstock 9. We've had 11, if you include the virtual Macstock from 2020 and the kind of micro Macstock from 2021. So we've had 11 total, but this is the 9th official in-person Macstock. And, lessons are learned every single year. I pick up something that I should do differently for the next year. And sometimes it's determined, the lessons I learn are determined by the venue. Sometimes they're determined by other factors. But one of the things that I learned throughout the years was let's make sure we have enough breathing room in between the talks. And so that's what we do. It's not excessive, but in between the 45-minute talks, we have 15-minute breaks, which is a good, decent break time. And then after each workshop, our workshops are 90 minutes. So after each workshop, we have a half an hour or 30-minute break before the next session starts. And the workshops are, gosh, they went over so well last year. We had them on an entirely separate day. We had them on Friday. Well, this year we have 6 workshops instead of 4, and we've got them spread out throughout the weekend. So we have one in the morning each day to kick off each day, and we have one in the afternoon each day to kick off the afternoon. So, count on plenty of break time and hopefully plenty of time to, get to know the folks around you and make some new friends.
You use 2 terms there that I know we've talked about. The one, and that's virtual Macstock because of the pandemic. But what did you just call it? Micro Macstock or mini Macstock?
Well, I kind of made that up just now on the fly. So there you
go. But I like it because, you're right. This is the 9th major one. But to your credit, Macstock could easily have gone the way of a number of other conferences after the pandemic. And you just would not let it die. You found ways to keep the Macstock fans and maybe even call them the Macstock faithful together, interacting, and you eased us all back into it, which I think was the best approach because again, there are a lot of conferences out there and a lot of events that they just folded up their tent and said, "We're done." They didn't even try.
Yeah.
So a lot of you take a bow for that one. Take a bow for that one.
No, I'm not going to take a bow for that. It's a lot of hard work and it's a lot of scary work. Not to kind of dredge all this back up again, but that whole COVID thing was very scary for someone like me who's organizing a meetup. Even when we jumped from 2021 to 2022 and we met again in the McHenry County College. I mean, you remember I remember. It's like a nightmare. The lengths I went to make sure that everyone got the type of seating they wanted. They got the distance type. Some people were okay with being near other attendees. Some people wanted some distance. When you have limited seating, and 300 seats is limited when you need to spread people out. When you have limited seating, that's a very tricky thing to navigate. And then 2021 was similar to that, in that we were just kind of dipping our toes into the water and saying, well, let's get a few people together if we can, if they're comfortable doing it, and we can keep them spread out throughout. We were at Stage Left Cafe at the Woodstock Opera House then. We can spread them out a little bit and kind of give them the room that they need. And oh gosh, what a mess. I'm so glad that's currently behind us.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
gosh.
Agreed. So one of the other things that we always have to talk about, and even this may evolve between now and the time that Macstock actually occurs, are the evening events, which are some are quasi-sanctioned by Macstock, some are just completely impromptu. Do we have anything yet on the schedule that would meet either one of those criteria?
Well, there's so the official evening things kind of happen as people bring them to me and say, hey, can we do this? And the first evening thing that's happening was actually brought to me by our partner sponsor, Ecamm. Katie from Ecamm came to me and said, hey, Mike, we were thinking about maybe doing a little mixer on Friday night, a little meet and greet, a chance for people to kind of gather and maybe get some desserts and some, soft drinks or, whatever, and just have a nice time together, a nice opportunity to, in a more casual setting, get to not only meet the Ecamm fam, and the folks who are coming from Ecamm are Katie Fox and Doc Rock, but also maybe get to meet some of the other Macstock attendees that you didn't get a chance to talk to earlier in the day. So they're throwing a dessert party. They're calling it Sweet Connections, and that's going to be Friday night. Let's see if I get this right here. Friday night, Sweet Connections. It's going to be in Ecamm Studios. So they have one of the rooms that's just outside the main ballroom. We're calling that Ecamm Studios, where they can set up and demo their equipment and software all weekend long. Ecamm Studios, and the room next to it, they're actually technically Acorn 1 and 2. The room next to it is where we're going to have the food set up. So that's going to be Friday, the 11th, and that's going to be 7:30 to 8:30 on Friday. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is now become a regular happening at Macstock, and that is Mac Geek Gab, recording an episode of Mac Geek Gab live at Macstock. And that's going to be happening Saturday night. This is going to be fun. Saturday night is interesting because Saturday there's another event happening at the Alara Convention Center in addition to Macstock, and it's a wedding. So that's why we're getting out of our sessions earlier on Saturday. We're getting out at 4 p.m. so that they can. This is what. Oh, okay. Inside baseball here. They need to tear down.
Please.
They need to tear down half of Macstock's ballroom. So we need to be out by 4. They need to tear down half the ballroom, pull the dividing wall, set up for a wedding in that room. After the wedding's over, they need to yank the wall back, reset up Macstock's ballroom so that we can have Mac Geek Gab in there at 8:30 Saturday night. And then while we're watching Dave and Pilot Pete and Adam and having a blast with them, the wedding reception is going to be going on in the next ballroom down the hall from Macstock. So as Martine just said in the chat room, wedding crashers. Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Well, okay. So are they going to have are either party going to have armed guards so that the wedding people can't come in Macstock and Macstock can't go into the wedding
I
party?
have no idea what's going to happen. It's going to be interesting. There's always
Yeah,
something at Macstock, and that's this year's thing is there's going to be a wedding going on. It's just Saturday though. Friday, Sunday unaffected. It's only Saturday that this is going on. So yeah.
okay. So pro tip, bring along some clothes that look like you would wear to a wedding, and then you can go into the wedding. And
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
It was just a thought, Mike. It was just a thought.
Now, okay, speaking of, so in the chat room just now, Marty said, don't throw a dessert party. That's a very, very good point. But since Marty made that witty comment, I should also mention, and this is a TBD thing, and Marty doesn't know this yet because I haven't replied to his email, but we're going to have another Vision Profiles meetup, just like we had last year. So that was a lot of fun. I don't know if Marty really anticipated, Marty and Eric, by the way, or Bolden, I don't know if they anticipated quite what was going to happen. You know, if they were going to have one or two people say, yeah, I'm interested in the Vision Pro, or if, we were going to get what did happen. And I mean, we had a bunch of people crammed in that room, all trying out the Vision Pro and bringing their own Vision Pros in and testing them out and sharing them with people and all that. Well, we're going to do it again. Little bit of a TBD on that because of a scheduling conflict with the room that we want to use for the Vision Profiles meetup. So, Marty, I'm going to send you an email about that. But that's the only official evening stuff going on. Of course, the bar area is going to be open at the hotel, just like it was last year. With any luck, we will not have a thunderstorm take out the power to the hotel like happened. Honestly, that was fun. As long as you weren't in the elevator when that happened, it was fun, right? Sitting there in the dark, just chatting with people. I don't think the conversation has changed. I think everything just kept going as it was going when we had power. But there you go. We had an impromptu power outage last year, and hopefully not this year. But if we do, we do.
Yeah, I got a better appreciation for Midwest U.S. thunderstorms that night. You guys have some real bangers. It was impressive. It was impressive.
Oh, yeah. Martine just had a good point that the soccer fans were not happy. That's true. That's true.
I forgot about that. Yes.
There was a pretty critical game going on at that time, and sorry.
Yeah, people were trying to get it on their phones and hoping for what cell service. Yes, I'd forgotten about that.
Actually, my wife was watching the game up in our room, and yeah, there you go. So
yeah, there you go. So that's Friday night and Saturday night. Anything planned for Sunday night that you can talk about yet?
There isn't anything official planned for Sunday night. We're going to wrap up. I think what's going to happen is just what happens every year at Macstock, and that is we're going to wrap up with our last session. Nobody's going to want to leave the room. I'm going to be scrambling to pack everything up and get it into storage before the night goes on, and people are going to just move in what has sometimes been dubbed that Macstock herd, just kind of all pick up and either go out to dinner, head to the bar area, just hang out and just enjoy each other's company for as long as we can before we all have to head home again.
I forgive me. I think I messed it up. I'm thinking the wrong way. So we have Thursday night and Friday night spoken for. Saturday night is what I should have asked.
No, Friday night. We have Friday night and Saturday night spoken for.
Friday night, okay. So
maybe
Thursday
I misspoke.
Night not spoken for.
Yeah, Friday night is.
I don't know.
Friday night. I don't either. Friday night is Sweet Connections, Ecamm's dessert party.
That's right.
Saturday night is Mac Geek Gab live. We've got a little TBD on the Vision Profiles meetup, and yeah, those are the official things. Okay. Thursday night, we are going to have pre-registration. We did that last year. We set up the registration desk early. The hotel was kind enough to give us that space the night ahead, so that we could take some of the burden off of our volunteers Friday morning as people are showing up and saying, hey, where's my t-shirt? Where's this? And how do I get in? And where's the schedule? And all that stuff. So we're going to have kind of a pre-registration Thursday evening for like an hour or so. If you get there early and you can come on down, I'll announce the actual times we're going to do this in the Macstock newsletter as we get closer. But if you get in early and you've got a couple minutes and you can come down and pre-register, that would be amazing. And here's the hidden thing that I showed you. It's not a big deal, but it's kind of fun. If you come down and you pre-register early, everyone who pre-registers early gets a Macstock AirTag key fob. See? So that's just a piece of foam in there right now. But this will hold your AirPods, not AirPods, AirTags. AirTag key fob holder with the little Macstock logo on it. See that? Oh, there you go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and what I like about this one is it's got a little snap on it. So you unsnap it and you can stick your AirTag in there. So it holds it nice and secure. You look at everybody watching me fumble with this. So it holds your AirTag nice and secure and then just boop, snaps it in there. So yeah,
that is nice.
Kind of neat little thingy there. So that'll be nice. So you can clip that on your luggage going home in case the airline loses your luggage. You can clip it inside your luggage. Don't put it on the outside. Put it inside your luggage, and then you can find it when they misplace it.
Yeah, I love your optimism on that.
Well,
I want to put in right quick a little plug for the other Road to Macstock shows, the ones that have already been out.
Yeah,
and I still have a bunch of them in the can. I'm still chasing down a couple presenters because of schedule conflicts and all. But so the Road to Macstock will continue. And if you haven't heard from a presenter that you see listed, just give it time. We will get them there, even if I have to, put a gun to somebody's head to get them to tell you what they're going to talk about. Well, metaphorically. But I love these interviews because I get to. First of all, it challenges my interviewing skills, and I think it challenges the guests too. We don't ask them to do the presentation. In fact, we ask them not to. We ask them to talk about the presentation. And sometimes those conversations are pretty short and sweet because they don't want to give anything away. And other times they get a little bit more expansive. You just never know. This year, we also had, as Mike said, Doc and Katie on from eCam, who are going to be sponsoring the event, what was it, Mike, Sweet Connections?
It is, right? Katie's calling it Sweet Connections Friday night. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, that if you don't know who either one of them are, make sure you watch that episode and find out, because just with the two of them there, it's going to be fun. If nothing else happens, it's going to be fun just having the two of them there. So
a couple of the nicest people in the world. Absolutely.
Absolutely. But I should say too, between now and then, if Mike lets me know, and we can get anybody else on that's doing anything else, or that anything else develops at Macstock, we want you fully prepared and aware of who you're going to talk to and why you should come and what you can expect to learn.
One of the announcements I made in the newsletter is the digital pass being available again. It's something that we do make available every year. It's not a live stream. We did it live 2021 for Virtual Macstock. We did a live stream. And 2020 was a live stream, obviously. But it's an opportunity to watch Macstock's talks after the fact. So after the weekend is over, after Mike gets a chance to edit all the video down to release it to the digital pass, and I know Chuck knows what I'm talking about when I say that, editing video down. But I'm going to aim for 30 to 45 days after Macstock, hopefully sooner, thanks to the wonderful, wonderful efforts of Roger Harmon, who is our production volunteer there at Macstock. Certainly the work that he does there on site throughout the weekend goes a very, very long way toward making my job easier when it comes to editing the digital pass. But if you can't make it to Macstock, digital pass is available now, and some of the behind the scenes stuff that we've done to make that a little bit better this year, and to make the in-person experience a little bit better. I've once again invested in new tech for Macstock. We got an all new Mac for the production desk that just arrived like 3 days ago, and so that's ready to go. I have a new stage lighting kit. If you recall at the Holiday Inn last year, the lighting in the room was kind of strange. We could kind of get it all the way down. We could get it halfway. We could get it all the way up, but it was very difficult to manage the lighting. And it's something I've been experimenting with for a few months now, is how to make that better. And so what I did is I purchased a stage lighting kit for on stage to help, light the presenter so that we can see them better, because we do want to see our presenters, but also allow us to lower the light, I hope, lower the light in the room enough. Sometimes I don't know until we try it, but lower the light in the room enough so that the presentations on screen can be seen better as well. So I invested in that new stage lighting. I made a lot of tweaks to the scenes for Ecamm to make Roger's job easier. One of the things I know Roger will remember. Do you mind if I do a little quick demo here, Chuck?
No, go for it.
I'm going to show something from last year. So I had these scenes set up in Ecamm so that, and they were static. I mean, they were literally graphics I created in Affinity Designer. I think I used Affinity Designer, not Photo, for them, but just static graphics I created that showed who was coming up next. So you would see something like this. And this background that you see here with Allison's name and Mike's name that's all static text generated in Affinity Designer. And then we would have a little countdown over here on the right with a camera view and all that. Well, I created an all new scene for Roger to make his life a little bit easier. And it's a single scene, and we're going to have the information for the upcoming stuff in little folders so that he can just turn on or off the folders. So this is the new scene that we created. And it looks very, very similar, but the text that you see, Marty's name, your name, the countdown, the date and times in the bottom right-hand corner, those are all set up dynamically within the scene so that we can turn them on or off based on what he needs to show in this scene at any given time. So I think that's going to make things a lot easier for him. So he's not juggling 6 different scenes, or actually it would be, 6 different scenes, 2 for each day, right? So he's not juggling through the scenes. There's one scene, he just has to turn on or off what he wants to show. So, okay, I'm gonna tell Marty something. Marty just left a comment in the chat room that it looks like liquid glass. Marty, I created that scene before the WWDC presentation the other day. So just so you know, I was playing with that long before we saw anything from Apple. But yeah, it is kind of like it. It's kind of like liquid glass in that in the background, we've got this kind of semi transparent block with just a thin line around it to give it some definition. And that's what that is. So I'm hoping that will help at the production desk and make things a little bit easier there too. And a lot of what you see presented on screen is what ends up in the digital pass as well. So that's what we're doing tech wise and production desk wise. And one last thing, and this is kind of important too. Everybody knows Brian Henson. Brian does an amazing job every year helping out at Macstock. I mean, he starts reaching out to me months ahead and says, okay, let's start talking about what we need to do. Part of that is because he also does people's taxes, and he needs to make sure he fits his Macstock ideas in between all of his tax work. But last year, he he took on MC duties, but it was kind of spur of the moment. It was a last second thing where he took on those duties, and he wasn't fully prepared for them. This year, Brian is officially going to be Macstock's MC throughout the weekend for introducing speakers and kind of keeping people on top of what's going on in between our presentations and when we need to be back in the room and all that kind of stuff. So by officially being I'll still be there too. You'll still hear from me, unfortunately, but by officially being or handling the MC duties at Macstock, he'll be much, much better prepared as he introduces each speaker throughout the days of the weekend. So, he's been doing that on and off for years. He's such an indispensable part of Macstock Weekend, and I'm so glad that he said that he could do that for sure, because it really does take a load off my shoulders when he can step up and fulfill those duties for me.
Yeah. I mean, Brian has been phenomenal. The very first Macstock, you and I had met for the first time when I came to Macstock. Brian and I met for the first time, and I know universally among the speakers, everyone said Brian made them feel so welcome, just like you did, that it was not like you were at a conference. It was just like you were meeting new friends. And that was just fantastic.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
good.
Absolutely.
I'm glad that's all working out. Blake in the chat room said, "Will the digital pass allow for live viewing of Macstock?" And Blake, you may have missed that when Mike was talking, but no, unfortunately, he don't live stream Macstock just because there's too many things that can go wrong. And Macstock really is more about being in person. If you absolutely can't be there, you can get the digital pass and benefit from the knowledge. But Macstock is at least 50% fellowship, communications, connection with other attendees.
At least. At least. And I mean, at a very, very basic technical level, it's the hotel Wi-Fi or internet. I mean, let's just be honest. They did upgrade everything this year, by the way. So that's good news. We're not there yet. We don't know how well this upgrade's going to work, but they did tell me that everything's been upgraded this year. New Wi-Fi access points have been installed. So we'll see how well that works. But this is actually a really interesting discussion to have at Ecamm Studios with Katie and Doc. If you happen to get a chance to go in there at some point during the weekend, they are going to be live streaming from Macstock. There will be some opportunity to see some live stuff from Macstock, I understand, from Ecamm Studios throughout the weekend. You may even see me on it. You may see Chuck on it. They've invited Chuck to come and do some of his MacVoices interviews from their studios as well. So one of the interesting things, or one of the interesting discussions to have with them, is how they, as a company that specializes in software that makes it easy for people to live stream, how they get around limitations of things like poor hotel Wi-Fi. And they do have solutions for it. So that's a really good discussion to have with them. And perhaps we'll be able to use some of that knowledge that I glean from discussing with them these topics to bring a live stream to Macstock in the future. But no, I'm sorry, Blake, it's not this year. It's an after the fact, or it's a chance to watch the talks later.
And I got to point out, you've just stated so much of the obvious, but what we're doing now is being done through Ecamm, out through Zoom, out to Ecamm, to YouTube. What Mike is going to be doing as part of creating the digital pass will be done in Ecamm. The slides he was showing, between presentations are Ecamm. So much you can do with that program. So by all means, get with Doc and Katie, and don't think it's not for you. That was one of the things we talked about on the road to Macstock, that for podcasters, it's phenomenal. But that doesn't mean that you can't do it for your grandparents or your church or your civic organization or whatever. They're just it's not difficult, and it ends up being just a lot of fun, especially if you are a member of the Macstock audience, because that means you're automatically a tech person at any level, and you can do it. Believe me.
Yeah. And as much as I'm sure they would love us to continue talking about the product, I will let them share some of this with everyone at Macstock. In fact, their workshop on Saturday is not, speakers are not. I ask speakers not to simply give a commercial for whatever it is that they're there representing, and their workshop will not be a commercial for Ecamm Live. What it will be, though, is a talk on getting over anxieties of going live and being on camera, and how to improve your comfort level with doing that sort of thing. It's becoming a bigger and bigger part of our life, and I think it's important that more people get used to tools that are easy to use. And this is easy to use because it is a Mac app. That's what sets it apart from something like OBS Studio, which is also a wonderful product, but it's not Mac software, if you know what I mean. The drag and drop capabilities of it just are not there. It's a lot more technical, and this is a little bit more human. And if you remember my workshop on it last year, which I gave just because I really enjoy using the software, I showed how you can create simple scenes solely in Ecamm, and something like these lower thirds that we have here on the bottom left is all completely created in Ecamm. And that was one of the demos I gave. And this countdown scene is all 100% created in Ecamm. Well, except for the piece Love Mac on the left. I did create that in Affinity Designer and brought it in as a graphic. I dragged it in as a graphic, but everything else you see here is all created simply with the tools that Ecamm provides you. So with all that said, it's fun software to use. And I do use it, and we do use it. We've been using it for the production desk at Macstock for, 3-4 years now.
I guess, Mike, we're probably running up to where we should call an end to this, as much fun as we're having. Is there anything else, though, that we haven't talked about specifically now, a month out from Macstock, that folks should know?
There's one thing I want folks to know, and that is Macstock is a 3-day weekend this year. It's designed to be 3 days of workshops, 3 days of sessions, whereas in the past it's always been a 2-day weekend. But this year it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and that change up threw off some folks' schedules. And so the one thing I do want people to know, and I have mentioned this in the newsletter a couple times, but I do want people to know that if you can't make it all 3 days, just let me know. I have created custom weekend passes for people who can only make it on Sunday, or can only make it on Friday, or can only make it Saturday and Sunday, that sort of thing. So I have created custom weekend passes for people who can't make it all 3 days. And it's absolutely understandable that might be the case. So please just reach out to me. Even with the discount coupon that's out there, all presenters have a discount coupon. I have a discount coupon, which is Macstock 50 off. That takes $50 off your weekend pass. I take that into account. So if that's $50 off 3 days, so we kind of prorate that coupon to get you the same discount on a 1 or 2 day pass if you can't make it all weekend. So that's something I just wanted people to know, that don't feel like you can't make it because you can't be there all 3 days. If you can only be there 1, if you can only be there 2, just let me know. We'll make it work for you.
And it'll be worth the trip. Even if you only get there for 1 day, it'll be worth the trip.
Yeah. Yeah, there are some folks from the Chicago area that can only make it, 1 day because of work commitments, and they'll be there. they'll be there. And in some cases, they're folks new to Macstock. So it'll be exciting to see some new faces there.
Yeah. And I'm going to use that as a segue, and I'm going to take it upon myself to speak for every speaker that's coming. Okay. A lot of us you probably know from podcasts, YouTube shows, whatever. And I'm afraid, because I've heard it in the past, that sometimes that can be intimidating. I have no idea why, because this has to be the least intimidating group of people you ever run into, but it still seems to be there. So please don't hesitate to walk up, stick out your hand, introduce yourself. Because the thing to also remember is you're getting to see us, even if you're an active member of like the chats for Mac Voices or Dave Ginsburg's show In Touch with iOS or any of the other shows. Usually you're either a name, and most of the time it's just your first name, or you're a picture that's this big by this big, and you look a lot different in person. So please, do not be intimidated. Come up and say hello. We would love to see you. I don't know of any presenter that bites except maybe Jeff Gamet, and that's a whole nother discussion. So, but even with Jeff, more than likely, Jeff won't shake your hand. He'll give you a hug. And as he always says, hold it uncomfortably long. So just be prepared.
Jeff is such a sweetheart. Folks may not know this, but the very first time I met Barry Folk was at a Microsoft event. It was downtown Chicago. We both happened to be there. I think it was a Microsoft event. I'm pretty sure it was a Microsoft event. We were both there, and I was talking to somebody about something Microsofty, I don't know. And I got this tap on the shoulder. And going along with the tap on the shoulder were the words, "Are you Mike Potter?" That's not something you want to hear when you're at a conference. You don't want to be tapped on the shoulder and have someone say, "Are you Mike Potter?" And you're like, who are you? And why are you tapping me on the shoulder and saying, "Are you Mike Potter?" But it was Barry Folk. And the reason he came over and asked me is because he recognized my voice from my podcast. And so this was almost 20 years ago. And that's how we first met. He heard my voice, he recognized it from the podcast, came over and said hi. And, that's how we became great friends. So there is nobody at Macstock who is unapproachable. You can't sit down to lunch with. You can't sit down and have a drink with in the evening. Nobody. Come say hi. Because you might just, yes. you may become that next podcaster. There are people who come to Macstock and have created entire new careers for themselves because of the people that they met there. So please say hi to anyone and everyone and have those conversations, because you never, ever know where they're going to lead.
Mike, I think that's the perfect way to wrap it up.
Yep.
Because I agree with everything you just said. So Macstock Conference and Expo.com is where you go to register to get the hotel information. And we have a reopened room block. That's exciting. All the details of the speakers are there. All the details of what they're talking about is there. Anything you want to know about Macstock is going to be there. Yep. Do it. We want to see you there. Mike, thanks so much for being here. Do you want to let folks know, since you prepared the scenes so well, let people know how they can find you?
Well, thanks for asking, Chuck. Yes, if anyone would like to reach me, you can find me at macstockconference.com, for maceysonly.com, youtube.com/macstock, tooting.ninja/@macstockexpo, and that big, long blue sky one that I'm not even going to try reading all that out. And then, in addition to For Mac Eyes Only, my podcast, there's also youtube.com/FMEOTV. FMEO stands for Mac Eyes Only, FMEO TV. And you'll also find tooting.ninja/ For Mac Eyes Only. So that's how people can reach me. Chuck, how can folks reach you?
Gee, if I only had a slide. Oh, there we go. Okay. You can reach me at any of these, youtube.com/MacVoicesTV, of course, for the videos and for the show. You can find me on LinkedIn, Mastodon, Blue Sky, pretty much all the social medias at Chuck Joyner. I would love to hear from you. And I definitely am looking forward to meeting you at Macstock. So that's it. We're a month out. We will see you, Mike, in a month, and we're going to have just a fantastic weekend.
Absolutely. It's going to be the best Macstock ever. You got to be there. Macstock 9.
Yep, absolutely. Be there. Continue checking out Mac Voices for the road to Macstock. We've got a lot more people to talk to. He's Mike Potter. I'm Chuck Joyner. As always, thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.